Hello, my best students, and welcome again to your channel, Native Flow. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine waking up one morning and you have absolutely nothing. No money, no job, no clear direction. Just you, your thoughts, and a quiet feeling inside your chest telling you that something in your life is not right. Maybe you've felt this before. Maybe not with money, but with English. You sit, you try to speak, and suddenly your mind goes blank. You know the words, but they don't come out. You understand, but you can't express. And slowly, without noticing, you start to believe something dangerous. Maybe I'm not good enough. But today's story will break that belief. Because this is not just a story about money. This is a story about mindset, about discipline, about how a simple decision can change everything. And while you listen, you will naturally improve your English, your listening skills, your vocabulary, your fluency. Not by force, but by feeling the story. So don't rush. Don't try to translate everything. Just listen, relax, and let the English come to you. And before we start, if you really want to improve your English in a natural way, make sure you subscribe and stay with me until the end of this story. Because I promise you, the ending will change the way you see your life and your English. Now, let's begin. So, his name was Adam. Not special, not rich, not talented in any obvious way. Just a normal guy, living a very normal life. But the problem was, his normal life was slowly destroying him. Every morning, he woke up late. Not because he wanted to rest, but because he had no reason to wake up early. No job, no goals, no direction, just his phone and endless scrolling. You know that feeling, right? When you wake up, open your phone, and suddenly 1 hour disappears. Then 2, then 3. And at the end of the day, you feel tired, even though you did nothing. That was Adam's life. And the worst part, he knew it. He knew he was wasting time. He knew he could do more. But every time he tried to change, something stopped him. A voice inside his head would say, "Tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow." And tomorrow never came. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. And slowly, something dangerous started to grow inside him. Not laziness, but doubt. He started to believe that maybe this was his life. Maybe he was not meant for success. Maybe people who succeed are just different, stronger, smarter, better. And this belief is the most dangerous thing in the world, because once you believe it, you stop trying. One night, everything changed. It was around 2 a.m. The room was dark, silent, empty. Adam was sitting alone, looking at his screen, not watching anything. Not learning anything, just scrolling without purpose. Then suddenly, he saw something. A simple video. A man talking. Nothing special. No luxury. No big house. No expensive car. Just a simple message. I was broke for years, but one day, I got tired of my own excuses. Adam stopped scrolling. For the first time in a long time, he was listening. The man continued, "Your life changes when you get tired of your current life." That sentence hit him hard. He paused the video, and for a few seconds, he just sat there, silent. Because deep inside, he knew. He wasn't tired of being broke. He wasn't tired of having no direction. He was only tired for a moment. Then he would go back to comfort, back to scrolling, back to doing nothing. And in that moment, he realized something powerful. Nothing will change if I don't change. Simple, but painful. He looked around his room, messy, disorganized, empty, and suddenly, it felt like a reflection of his mind. That night, he didn't make a big plan. He didn't write goals. He didn't promise anything crazy. He just did one small thing. He put his phone away, and he said, "Tomorrow, I start small. No pressure, no perfection, just small. And for the first time in months, he slept with a clear mind, not because his life was fixed, but because he made a decision, a real one, not emotional, not temporary, but honest. And sometimes that's all it takes, not a big change, just a real decision. Something felt different. Nothing magical, no motivation, no energy, just awareness. He woke up and the first thing he wanted to do was grab his phone. But then he stopped. He remembered the night before, and instead, he did something simple. He stood up, made his bed, and sat down in silence. 5 minutes, no phone, no distraction, just him and his thoughts. It felt uncomfortable, strange, even boring, but that moment was the beginning of everything. And from that moment, nothing changed. At least, not on the outside. Adam was still broke, still had no job, still didn't know exactly what to do. But inside, something was different. For the first time, he stopped waiting for motivation. He stopped asking, "Do I feel like doing it?" And instead, he asked a better question. What is one small thing I can do today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. So he started simple, very simple. He opened his laptop, not to watch videos, not to scroll, but to learn. At first, it was difficult. His focus was weak. His mind kept jumping. After 5 minutes, he wanted to quit. After 10 minutes, he felt tired. But this time, he didn't stop. Not because he was strong, but because he made a rule. Just 30 minutes. Not 2 hours, not a perfect day. Just 30 minutes. And those 30 minutes became his first win. A small win, but real. The next day, he did it again. Sometimes he was distracted. Sometimes he felt lazy. Sometimes he almost gave up. But he kept one promise. Never zero. No matter what happens, do something. Even 5 minutes, even 10, but never zero. Days passed, and slowly something started to happen. His focus improved. His confidence increased. Not because he became rich, but because he started to trust himself. And this is important, because confidence doesn't come from success. It comes from keeping your word to yourself. One day, while he was learning online, he discovered something new, a simple idea: freelancing, working online, helping people, and getting paid. At first, it sounded impossible. He had no skills, no experience, no confidence. But then, that same voice came back. Start small. So he didn't try to become an expert. He didn't try to make a lot of money. He just asked, "What can I learn fast?" So he chose something simple. Writing. Simple English. Simple ideas. Nothing perfect. And for the next days, he focused only on that. Learning, practicing, failing, trying again. His first attempts were bad. Very bad. His sentences were not clear. His ideas were weak. And sometimes he felt embarrassed. But this time, he didn't quit, because he understood something new. Bad is part of the process, not a problem, not a sign to stop, but a step forward. After some time, he created his first profile online. Simple, not perfect. No big words, just honest. I'm learning, and I will do my best. Then he waited. 1 day, nothing. 2 days, nothing. 1 week, still nothing. And that old feeling came back. Doubt. What if this doesn't work? What if I'm wasting my time? What if I'm not good enough? But this time, he didn't listen. Because now, he had something stronger than motivation. He had discipline. He kept learning, kept improving, kept showing up, even when nothing was happening. And then, one day, something changed. A message. Simple, short, but powerful. "Hi, I saw your profile. Can you help me with a small task?" Adam looked at the screen, again and again to make sure it was real. His heart started beating faster, not because of money, but because it was his first opportunity, his first proof that maybe, just maybe, he was on the right path. He took a deep breath and replied, "Yes, I can help," even though inside he was still unsure, still learning, still afraid. But he understood something important. Opportunities don't come when you're ready. They come when you're brave enough to try. That small task didn't pay much, almost nothing, but it gave him something more valuable than money: experience, confidence, proof. And sometimes that's the real beginning. And that small task changed everything. Not because of the money, because honestly, it was almost nothing, but because of what it did inside him. For the first time, Adam didn't feel like someone who was waiting. He felt like someone who was moving. Slowly, yes, but moving. And that feeling is addictive. So he did it again. Another small task, then another. Some clients didn't reply. Some disappeared. Some were not satisfied. And yes, sometimes it hurt. Sometimes he felt like giving up. But something was different now. Before, rejection would stop him. Now, rejection was just part of the process. He didn't take it personally. He didn't say, "I'm not good enough." He said, "I'm still learning." And that one shift changed everything. Weeks passed, then months. His skills improved. His writing became clearer, stronger, more natural. And slowly, his prices increased. Not a big jump, just small steps, from $5 to $10 to $20 to $50. And one day, something happened that he never expected. He checked his account and saw a number he had never seen before. Not millions, not even thousands, but enough to make him stop, look again, and smile. Because for the first time, he made money by using his mind. Not luck, not chance, but effort, consistency, and discipline. That moment was not about money. It was about proof. Proof that change is possible. Proof that he was not stuck. Proof that his past did not define his future. And from that day, he didn't stop. He kept learning, kept improving, kept growing. His routine became stronger. His mindset became clearer. And his life started to change. Not overnight, not magically, but slowly and permanently. And years later, people looked at him and said, "You're lucky. You changed so fast. You're different." But they didn't see the nights when he wanted to quit. They didn't see the days when nothing worked. They didn't see the small steps that no one celebrates. Because success always looks simple from the outside, but inside, it's built on invisible effort. Now, let me ask you something. What if Adam never made that decision? What if that night he kept scrolling? What if he said, "Tomorrow," again? His life would be the same. Nothing would change. Not because he couldn't change, but because he didn't decide to. And this is the truth most people avoid. Your life doesn't change when you feel ready. It changes when you decide. Not a big decision, not a perfect plan, just a real one. Small, simple, but honest. And maybe this is your moment. Not to become rich, not to become perfect, but to do one small thing that your future self will thank you for. Maybe it's practicing your English. Maybe it's speaking, even if you're afraid. Maybe it's starting, even if you feel unready. Because just like Adam, you don't need everything figured out. You don't need confidence. You don't need motivation. You just need to start small and stay consistent. So next time, when that voice tells you, "Tomorrow," I want you to remember this story and answer no today. And step by step, word by word, day by day, you will build something real. Not just your English, but your life. And that is the real goal.